I have no education, high school dropout, and no real history of being around poetry, but found it through my political work, mainly Wendy's, to be honest. To me, it is a weapon in the struggle and helps me kind of coalesce my thoughts about things when I can't find another way. Do you view poetry as a weapon?
That's gonna make me really emotional. So Zaina, you should go.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Oof. Yeah, I do. I do. I'm thinking a lot about Cabral, who also wrote poetry and wrote that culture is a weapon. And um, I think that theory is a weapon. I think that poetry is a weapon. Um, I think that we are in a deeply, deeply painful moment um, in history. Um, and I don't always have it in me to feel hopeful. And when I think about, folks like the person who asked that question, the people who I have known on the inside of cages, political prisoners, people who are suffering some of the highest forms of violence and brutality imaginable. And the fact that so many of them and us turn to poetry as like a way to stay alive. I have to believe, right? I have to believe that there's something to that. And I have to believe it because I think we owe it to one another to carry on. And I was at a reading actually recently with Wendy dedicated to Diane DePreman. Like, I think her poetry does this so beautifully. And one poem in particular, I'll get emotional thinking about it, where she talks about, so like prolifically, but that we sort of contending with this idea that you only live once, but actually saying that we die and are born a million times every day and are recreated within one another and those who carry on the fight. And so I think for me, if I can, I always think of poetry as a thread that connects me to so many people who I don't know, who are with me, and to remind me that I'm not alone. And so in that way, I do believe that it is a weapon.
I get a part of why I get emotional just because it means a lot that there are people like Aaron, and I've met a lot and been surprised really. I don't know if I think it's a weapon, but something that I wasn't expecting is that there were so many people doing the kinds of things that me and comrades here were doing, and that so much of at least the poems in that book, they're like struggling with all the problems that come up when you're trying to fight. And I didn't think that they were going to be so not translatable, but that so many people would be able to like relate to those things that we were dealing with and that we constantly have to deal with. And so I'm happy that they, at least at the very least, people don't feel alone with it, because it's a lot, it's a lot. So I don't know about weapon, but I agree with thread. That thread is it. It means a lot to know that there's people that have been doing these things. but it's more about those things than it is about, like for me at least, what makes this happen is just knowing that there's a lot of us that are really trying hard to just keep going.